Good morning, everyone. This is Rose with Catsman's Rose, and I am doing the last spread for my journal. I'm doing January. Some of you all may recognize this. This is the September 2025 Archer and Olive. And this is February. So this is the first time in a long time that I've actually not put an entire year in a book or in a journal. And so this is my February. It was Alice in Wonderland themed. And then March was a continuation of that, but it was the, what do you call it? The Tea Party theme. Let me see if I can show you, without you all seeing everything. So March had the theme at the bottom, and then April was coffee themed, so nothing there. Well, I mean, it was fun for me. It was coffee and cats themed. May was, oh right, and May started the yard sale theme. So the yard sale theme was basically, I decided I was going to use up all of my information, all of my, not information, all of my excess stickers and stuff. So that's what I was doing. I have to go back in and journal for yesterday, which was the 30th, and today the 31st. And now I'm starting on June. So the idea was, because I have so much stuff that ephemera and stickers that I was gifted or that I purchased that I just never used, so, or didn't use quite as fast. So my idea was to just go ahead and just do like a yard sale thrift type deal and just throw everything in here, not try to have too much of a theme, but just go ahead and use things. So of course I did in my journal use for May the 4th in Revenge of the Sith. I used that. And then I just have just a lot of stickers. Like my pen pals are very generous. They are very, very generous, and they give me a lot of cool things. So some of these will be in my pages. Some of them will be decoration. And like I said, this is my first time ever. This journal started in February, and I will be ending it in June. And this is the first time I've had that happen. Normally I can squeeze in a whole year, even when I'm having like the worst, I'm sorry, that was something personal from my pen pals. The worst mental health days or streaks. I still managed to just keep it all in 1 year, and or all 1 year all in one journal, but not this year. This year I have been doing more. I've been digging out stuff that I've had since 2019 and all of that, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. So June was like the yard sale. This one is going to be more like a thrift corner type deal. So what I'm thinking of with this right here, and I know for a lot of you all, it's going to be sideways. Hold on, let me see if I can flip this. There. So this should be more like it. So for this here, let's see if I can zoom out some. There we go. And yes, as you can see, I have my calculus notebook, propping this up a little bit higher. But anyway, or calculus textbook. So I'm thinking I should do this. Yeah. So this will be my July or my June. No Disney. So we're going to figure this out as I get it done. This is going to be very chatty, meandering. If you want something just on in the background, I'm so ready for Summerween. Anyway, if you just want something on in the background, this will be it. I will be discussing just different things that have been going on in my life, as well as just some things that I've noticed. And a lot of these are old. These, and I mean by old, like I've had them since 2020 for sure. So, because there are some like bluish purples in here. All right. Oh, let's get started. I will just do like the rough put down of everything, and then from there move on to tidying it up after I have logged off, and I'll put the tidied look on Instagram for anyone who wants to see it. But anyway, as you see, I have my calculus book out because my dad has never stopped studying. You know, he's graduated college, he's got his doctorate in education and all of that, and he always studies. And one of the fun things I did last week with him was go up to his lake house, and we just started doing calculus together, and it was fun. And I have to tell you, it's so different. Like my brothers and I, we hated math growing up because he was one of those teachers that one of those parents that you see that meme where, you know, they're just breathing heavy, and it's just like they repeat the same thing over and over again and start screaming at you when you don't get it, kind of thing. That was him with us. And it's actually funny now, like enjoyable now, doing it with him or studying with him, because I had to realize he was working. He would come home. Like my dad was one of those, he would come home and cook. He would come home and cook, clean the house, all of that. And he wasn't one of those people that was just like, oh no, this is a woman's job. You know, us kids had to do it. You know, my brothers all had to learn how to do it, all of that. And it was very interesting, to say the least, growing up in that environment. But yeah, so it was very, 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 it was very cool. I will say that. I mean, well, you know what? Yeah, it was cool because growing up with that, like a lot of the men in our neighborhood, especially the older men, they cooked. Yes, the wives cooked and cleaned, but the men cooked and cleaned as well, you know? And so it was always strange to me when I left home, and, you know, the people I would run into, their dads never cooked or they didn't clean. And I'm just saying to myself, what the hell? Why not? My dad established a level of cleanliness that all of us, including my mother, had to adhere to. So what are you talking about? Y'all didn't, what? Like my brothers, my eldest brother, you know, and I now know it's called parentification, but he was the third parent. He was the adult in the home. If he told us to do something and we didn't do it, you know, at first he had permission to, you know, chasten us and, you know, pop our hands and stuff until like mom realized like, no, you taking out your frustration with having to raise your siblings on your siblings, and we can't have that. So that went the way of the dodo. A little too late in my opinion, but that's okay. But yeah, so it was just really interesting being up there with him, and it was actually relaxed. Like even though I was still making a lot of, you know, mistakes and everything, we were able to laugh at it and laugh at some of the silliness, you know, of like, okay, come on, girl, like we just went over this. What is not sticking in your brain? It was good. I had a great time. And I drove, because I had to drove home. It was raining cats and dogs. But as soon as I pulled up to the house, you know, I was telling them, I was like, I had such a great time. It was a lot of fun. And, you know, I can't wait to come back up there to study again, and I will be going back up there to study again. And in for me, just growing up, if you told like 13-year-old me I would actually get to a point where I could study calculus with my father and laugh when I made mistakes, and he would laugh too, I would have called you a liar from the depths of hell. I really would have. And even I noticed while I was there and I was starting to make mistakes, I realized it was, the old fear, coming back up. Is he going to yell? Is he going to scream? And it wasn't until I realized he wasn't going to do that, and that he had a very great sense of humor about it. Oh, tore that. That's when I actually was able to calm down and actually do this correctly while studying with him. So that was absolutely wonderful. Coming to that. All right, so let's see. Let's do the flamingo. So I'll be going back up next month, and we will, because we worked all the problems in chapter 1, so we're going to be working problems in chapter 2, because I want us to get to the point where we can have the should I go there? I want that to go there. We can finally get to using calculus and chemistry, and then we're going to move on to physics. So when I was in high school, my dad helped me to build a catapult for a science project, and he and I worked on it. We worked out the math and everything, and the funny thing to me was we were working on it, and so the teacher didn't believe, because back then you had to show your work as it was getting done, and I wanted to do my project by myself. I did not want anyone else, because basically if my dad started yelling and screaming at the kid, it would just cause problems. So I was just like, let me just work on it by myself. And I did. And at first, because my physics teacher was also my coach for cross country and shot put and discus. And we worked on it, and she was just like, yeah, I think that's going to be too much tension, blah, 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 blah. And I said, no, it'll work. My dad's great at this. And so she said, all right, let's just see what happens. So I came home and I told my dad. My dad's like, yeah, we're going to show her. And I'm like, yes. So it worked. It worked so well that we actually, because we had to have 4 different tensions on it. And when we used the catapult inside the top of the MS building, the math science building, it actually knocked out one of the tiles in the ceiling, and we had to take it outside. So it worked. It worked really well. I was proud. I was happy to come home, tell my dad about it, blah, 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 blah. And so she, because I actually, for our class, basically won in the competition as well, I couldn't, it was supposed to go to state, and it was supposed to be at the fairgrounds. So she had to come back and tell me that I could not, even though I had won for the school, mine could not go to the state because it was considered a weapon. I'm just like, well, yeah, it's a catapult, but I don't think I'm going to be overthrowing any school districts with the catapult. Well, I knew what was next. I had to come home and tell my dear old dad. So he was like, hey, how'd it go? And I was just like, yeah. Even though I won for our school, I can't go to state with this at the state fairgrounds. Why not? Well, it's considered a weapon. Oh, dear old dad was not happy. But he did eventually laugh about it. Like a couple days later, he was able to calm down, and he talked to my teacher about it. She was just like, no, the project was great. The math was solid. Excuse me. She said, but unfortunately, it is a catapult, and because of the strength of the spring, and it could put somebody's eye out. if somebody's not paying any attention, we can't have her go. But she'll get full credits and this, that, and the other, right? So Dad was able to calm down, and he wasn't frothing at the mouth over it. He was just really perturbed that, we put so much work into it and it was good. But the fact that it was considered a weapon, therefore I was disqualified, that's what really annoyed him. But he was proud. He was proud. It was one of the few times in my life I knew for sure that my dad was proud of me. And I tell you that actually back then and now is worth more than going to state, So anyway, saying all that to say, I had a great time studying with my dad last week. I'm looking forward to going up again in June just to hang out with him and study, because we were up there for a full 8 hours. Like, I was at his place for a full 8 hours, and it was so much fun. Like, because I took him stuff, brought him, some things from my garden and everything, because he knew that I was gardening again, making another attempt. And this time I actually was able to bring him some items from my garden that he really, really liked. And I was really proud of that as well. Okay, so, all right, so I have this here. I think I'm gonna leave this as is right now. I think it's got maybe something there. I'm not sure. Anyway, but that's that. Now for the June, because for March, April, and May, I didn't do a cover. Like, you see, I have that in there. Yeah, so May I didn't do a cover, but I did do it for February. Maybe I can put June here. Yeah, I'll put June here in the middle with something instead of here. And I do have those big letter stickers that I normally don't use because I just don't have any idea or thought on how to use it. But anyway, so I'm going to put June here. And then, because as you see, I have a good bit to decorate and everything. So I have a lot of pages. And then what I did for February was I did an end of the month wrap up. And then for June, I know there are some things in my personal life that are going to be going on. And more than likely, I'll have an end of month wrap up. And I'll probably on this page just do a collage of stickers and everything and washi tapes. Because I have a bunch of these that I don't use. I just don't use. But now I have these, which are so cute. And I know a lot of people use them as decoration. I'm not sure. And then I have these here that I was gifted. Actually, on my calendar, more than likely, I'm going to be using this page for my calendar because I have a lot of stuff happening this month. And then figure out what I'm going to do with this. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get June done. Now for the coloring, and along with going ahead and using my older stuff, this is my very first Rytec set that was gifted to me. So I've had this since 2022 and it still writes well. I've added in some white pens. So put those right there. But yeah, this is my Rytec that I've had since 2022. And so I'm going to use these for my June. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and end it here. This will be part 1. I'm going to draw my month in, and then I'll come back with part 2 and just do a flip through with you all. Well, actually, no, I'll do part 2 and show you how I decorate the rest of my pages. All right, so I'll be back.